Alrighty. What's up? What's up? What's up? If you are watching the replay, how's it going? If you're here live, hey, cousin. Let me make sure my internet's up on my phone. Okay, we good on Instagram. We're good on Facebook. What's up, everybody? So, like I promised, Friday Night Lives is back. I've literally got nothing but time. So, so welcome to Friday Night Live. If you're new here, pull up a chair. We finna be here for an hour, and I'm not playing, y'all. I'm really getting off of here in an hour. Like real talk. Like Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour. Like that's how serious I am. Boom. Like that's how serious I am, y'all, that we're not gonna be on here all night. Instagram gonna kick me off anyway. But what's up, everybody? My name is Markia, aka the Money Plug, aka your financial counselor's favorite financial counselor. I'm a board certified credit score consultant and credit repair specialist. I'm an accredited financial counselor. I am certified in a bunch of other stuff. But most importantly, I'm an award-winning content creator. So we finna get into this. So before we get started, right? Like always, hold on, decline. Before we get started, like always, right? Whatever questions y'all got, drop them in the comments. It really don't matter what it's about. If it's about money and credit, at any point in time, I will stop what I'm talking about to make sure your question get answered. If you join in the middle, have to drop off, or if it looks choppy on your end, I am streaming on multiple platforms. Now, Instagram and TikTok will not be able to save the live, but if you want, you can wait until the live is over and watch the replay on my YouTube channel. My at name is the same, at THEE Money Plug on YouTube, or Markia B, aka the Money Plug, and you'll be able to pull it up. And this live literally will be available as soon as I cut it off. It's going to be on YouTube. Now, in the future, these lives is going to be few and far between, right? Not necessarily period, but just publicly. For those of you who don't know, I've been transitioning my Facebook group onto Mighty Networks, which I think is an awesome platform. It allows people who are not active on Facebook or don't want to partake in social media to also be a part of the community and the conversation. So we are switching to that, and we're going to be going live in that group a lot more often than we're going to be doing these lives. So just to give y'all a heads up, if you want to join the waitlist for the group, because it's not all the way open to everybody, but if you want to join the waitlist, all you got to do is click the link in my bio or just go straight to my website at themoneyplug.co. And then once you go to services, you'll see that there's a waitlist that you can join to join the Dollars and Cents Society. TikTok doesn't get to see my cool little setup, but for everybody else at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a running ticker with multiple ways to contact me. It's reminding you to like and subscribe and reminding you of how to get in contact with me. If you want me to come speak at your organization, your church, your club, your school, whatever, all you got to do is shoot me an email at markiab@themoneyplug.co. All right? We got all the business out the way. We got to talk. We got to talk. Okay. So, first things first, I have officially finished my first week of college. I'm only taking 3 classes this semester, but low key, like I'm happy for that. At first, I was like 3 classes, but now I see why. Um, I'm taking Spanish, Intro to Accounting, and I'm taking public speaking. Which okay, everybody was like, "Oh, you gonna kill public speaking?" Da 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 da. When that lady made me stand up and introduce myself, I almost shit myself, y'all. Like I thought we left that in middle school. I'm not understanding why she made me do that as a grown adult, like real grown too. And that's another thing. I was kind of shocked. I thought I was gonna be the oldest person in all my classes, but I actually wasn't the only older person, and it definitely made me proud. I was talking to my homeboy earlier, and I was explaining to him. He was like, how do you? He was like, how do you feel? Like, how does it feel to like be back at school? And at first, I ain't gonna lie, I felt embarrassed. Like sitting in a classroom full of kids, like 18, 19-year olds with stars in their eyes and doing all the things, and like it definitely made me feel a little bit inadequate at first, which was 100% on me, right? That's definitely self-esteem shit I got to work out. But as I sat there, I think the longer I sat there, I kind of realized like, bro, if anything, I'm so proud of myself. Not only am I going back to school, but I'm going back to school in person. Like I'm sitting at this desk staring this teacher in her face so that I can ask her whatever I got to ask her before I leave out of here, right? Like, and that just made me feel so proud, like that I made that decision and that I believe so much in myself that I know I can do this, right? So it really made me feel good, and I'm super proud. Like 1 week down, a million to go, right? But I don't know. I'm just excited for this next chapter. Like y'all should have seen me today walking across campus with my little book bag. Like I'm so hyped to be a student. Like I can't wait to go get my first Laura sweatshirt because I'm definitely going to the student center next week to get my little school sweatshirt and stuff like that. And for those of you who don't know, I'm in a community college transfer program, so I will be completing um a lot of my like general education requirements and stuff like that at a community college, and then I'll be graduating from Cal State LA. So I'm super 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 excited for this part. Like I'm gonna keep y'all posted though, because like I might need help. Just like we family, right, cousin? So if you took any of these classes, right? All right. So I got a couple questions. Someone said I have a company that is listed on my credit report. However, oopsies. However, they have denied me for the loan. What should I do? All right. So y'all be way too obsessed with inquiries. Inquiries ain't never did nothing to y'all. Now I get it. It's a little embarrassing when you get to asking people for shit and then they tell you no, and then the whole world know they tell you no because clearly they know where on your credit, right? Um, but at the same time, lenders want to see that you're applying for new credit. Plus, they're not even worth that many points. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, if you apply for something and you get denied, and you got like maybe 10 like inquiries or whatever, I promise that's not what got you denied. Like, not like it couldn't have been that. Like, if that was the deciding factor, right? It had to be something else. Um, Now you can dispute it, right? But here's the thing that I always tell y'all about disputing. It's 50-50. You either win the dispute or you don't. So if the company can prove that you gave them consent to run your credit for an account, then unfortunately you're going to be stuck with that inquiry, whether or not you open the account with them anyway. Now they are more likely to be like, you know what, we'll just go ahead and, we'll head out. Simply because it's not worth fighting it. Like for what? You didn't even open an account with us. We don't even care. So they might go ahead and remove it. So I mean, dispute it, I guess, if you want. But at the end of the day, there we go. Just understand that it might not come off just because you want it off, right? Um, so that's just that on that. Somebody said you'll end up liking. Oh, you went to back at 27, 28. It do feel weird as hell. You'll end up liking speech. When I took it in undergrad, I was like, oh, but it paid off. Yeah, that's definitely what it was given. That's definitely what it was given. It was given. It was so funny because like my teacher was like, she was like, oh, when I call your name, tell me something that you did over winter break. And y'all know my name Brown, so like I was one of the first few people that did it or whatever. And so like I stand up and I'm thinking like we all sharing big shit. And so I was like, oh well, I did an interview with Essence Magazine over the break, and I'm super excited for like when the story comes out. Yo, the whole class turned around and looked at me like, so I'm like, okay, sat back down. Everybody else get up and talk about some. Oh, I slept more, or oh, I like little stuff. And I was like, oh, so we wasn't telling. Okay, we're not telling that kind of stuff. All right, shut up. So then she was like, asking people like, what are they taking the class for? Now everybody know that public speaking is a requirement, like it's a general education requirement. But like, she was like, you got to take it for another reason. Like you gotta want it. Like she's trying to motivate us or whatever. And so she was like, tell me why you taking the class. And she was one of them teachers, like she's not gonna move on to the next thing until somebody participates. Like somebody gotta get up and say something. So I raised my hand and I was honest. And she's like, why are you taking the class? And I was like, well, within the next 2 years or so, I really want to do a TED talk. And I think that taking this class will give me a little bit more confidence in my ability to not only, talk, but to craft a keynote speech. So again, everybody turned around looking at me like, bro, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just not gonna say nothing else because that's not what we was doing here apparently. Like I felt like I was doing a little bit too much. But that's probably the class that I'm most excited about this semester is my public speaking class, especially because it's in person. um and that like being able to literally work side by side with my professor and stuff I think is really cool, especially because like I told y'all this year I'm doing a lot more speaking engagements. I really want to get the speaking engagements in and out. I really want opportunities to speak. First of all, I got a lot to say, and I think I say it really well. But also, like I said, I want to do a TED talk within the next 2 years, and I think that these opportunities will kind of give me everything that I need to kind of get it done. Are you going to learn new things in public speeches? I mean, shit, I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. If anything, even if it's just like perfecting things like, my pitch or like, how I organize my thoughts and how I outline my keynotes. how I hold my flashcards even. I feel like I do it awkwardly. So like, yeah, it's a bunch of stuff that I'm hoping I learn from this. Obviously, I'm staying optimistic about all of my classes. But like I think that's the class that I'm most excited about this semester. So I'm liking college so far. I'll give it a little 7 out of 10. Campus is cute. Um, so yeah, you in there with children, they don't have big things like that right now. I mean, yeah, I guess. I guess. But anyway, let's get on with the business for today. Oh, you said you are going to learn it. Yeah, I am going to learn new things. All right. So for those of you who follow me on multiple platforms, you might have saw on Instagram that I did a conversation with the CEO of the app Altro. So now this is a throwback. Like if you was following me like over 2 years ago, my very first brand trip was with Altro. They reached out to me when I was living in Virginia at the time. They reached out to me because they were doing this thing where they had an event on Capitol Hill and they were inviting different influencers to come, participate in the conversations, talk about the event, that sort of thing. So I got flew out to DC, and it was really cool. I got to meet John Hope Bryant from Operation Hope, Tanya Vancourt from Goal Setter, Michael from the CEO of Ultro, and a couple other people. Shout out to Matrimony Homie because that's where I met her at actually, random. Um, and it was it was cool. It was a really nice event on Capitol Hill talking about the importance of financial education and making it accessible at younger ages for people or for kids especially, right? And talking about how financial education it's a lot more than just a buzzword. Like it's cool that we're all talking about it, but there needs to be a system that is developed that will actually teach them the things that they need to know. Because I've never used the Pythagorean theorem since I've been out of school. However, I've needed money every single day. Even before I graduated high school, I needed money. The only reason I joined the army was because I needed money, right? So it's like, which is so crazy because I just posted that today. But it's so crazy that like something so important we're not really learning about it. Hey Celeste. So I thought that was just like really dope. And I've always been a supporter of the brand. For those of you who are not familiar, Jay-Z invested into the company a while ago. It used to be called Perch back when he invested in it. And then they rebranded to Ultra, which means other. And they've been kind of like really like trying to push their app forward and really, it's if you know anything about startups, you know it is not easy, especially, he black. So it's already like there's even more hurdles that we kind of have to, so y'all get it. But every Wednesday they do something in their app called Convos, which is it's audio only conversations that Michael has with like influential people in different arenas. And I got to go. We couldn't do Wednesday, but we did Thursday, which was yesterday. And it was actually a really good conversation. I was low key surprised. Michael's really young. Michael's like 24 or something like that, like super young. And as a founder, like I've had conversations with founders of apps. I've had conversations with people who want to be down for the cause, but like they just feel so far removed from the conversation when you actually try to sit down and have like regular people conversation with them. And I I was very pleasantly surprised by Michael. Like he actually was asking the tough questions. I finally got to talk about economic disparity and the importance of, you know, like why representation matters in your personal finance education and why it's important to unpack the generational trauma that kind of comes with being black and being impoverished and the difference in the black impoverished experience and the white impoverished experience. And it was just so refreshing to finally be able to have these conversations with someone who genuinely cared, right? And for those of you who aren't familiar with the app, what the app does is it allows you to take some of your subscriptions, and how it works is like they pay the subscription and then you pay them. And the payment you make to them is now counted on your credit report as an on time payment, giving you positive payment history, which helps boost your credit. For those of you who don't know, 35% of your credit score is your payment history. So the more on time payments you have reporting from various accounts, the better. So they're giving people access to credit building skills, and I'm sorry, credit building tools that traditionally would not have this, right? A lot of us live in banking deserts, so we don't even understand things like credit or how to get access to credit accounts or what kinds of accounts report to the credit bureaus. So it's really, it was just so refreshing to like not only talk to somebody who got it, but somebody who's trying to do something about it. I think that was such a really dope experience. I really want y'all to go back and listen to the conversation if you're subscribed on the app. Um, if you have a subscription, you'll be able to catch the replay. And I highly, highly suggest you guys catch that conversation because it was really dope. Do you have a recommendation now for the basics for kids? So here's the thing, and it's so crazy because so crazy. I've been so busy lately, right? Ever since I quit my job. I've been so busy lately, but I did a podcast. Shout out to Dre and Kev. It's the Dre and Smiley podcast, and we talked about like teaching kids. And one of the biggest things that I tell parents, as a parent who is also homeschooled, not just virtual school, but I legitimately homeschooled my children. And what I can say is every moment is a teachable moment when you make it that way when it comes to money. You can teach children the concept of money without necessarily handing them dollar bills. And the example that I used on the podcast was with screen time, which is what some parents love to barter with screen time. And I totally get it. We're a super STEAM household. So, like, everything in here is tech. We got Alexas in every room. We got laptops, iPads, smart TVs, we got PS5s, switches, everything. Like, we have all the things. And so a way that I can negotiate with my children is through screen time. And since this is something that they value, right? They truly value that screen time is something that's really important to them. I can use that to teach them these lessons. So for example, when you're talking about things like credit, right? Credit is when you don't have that money up front or you don't want to spend that money up front. So you borrow it from someone else and you promise to pay it back, and sometimes with interest. So for example, I'll use my oldest, she's 12. Let's say she's running out of screen time for the week, right? She's down to like 3 hours and it's only like Wednesday. And so she like, listen, I'm about to run out of screen time, but my show come on Friday. I know I want to watch it. Can I have 5 additional hours of screen time? In exchange, I will, and then whatever she say it is, she say she gonna do. It could be an extra chore, it could be some worksheets, whatever she believes kind of makes up for that 5 hours. And I'll agree. And in my house, we do everything with a handshake. Every deal is settled with a handshake. And let me tell you something, we honor all our deals. I don't play that. But let's say she didn't do whatever it was she was supposed to do. So now I got to be the repo man. So now I'm going to take all your electronics because you did not pay that bill. And you're not getting no more screen time. On top of, I'm going to subtract the screen time you owe me from your regularly scheduled screen time the following week. So now it's teaching them the consequences of not paying your debt. It's teaching them the consequences of making deals that they can't sustain. You get what I'm saying? These are the concepts that you can teach kids without necessarily having to pass money on to them. So when you think of like, how can I teach my kids this? How can I teach my kids that? Give them real life scenarios. Take the things that matter to them, the things that are important, and use those things to teach them these life lessons. It doesn't necessarily have to be you passing out cash to your kid. Now, obviously, my kids understand like the importance of like time and money and how you have to exchange time for money in a lot of instances and stuff like that. My kids are also a little older, a little bit more developed. So if you got younger kids, those are kind of like things you can think about. And there's a whole bunch of online resources, right? Goal Setter has an app that teaches families, entire families, financial education. It's really, really dope. And it was actually a part of our homeschool curriculum for a while. I highly suggest y'all check that out too. How did you Baltimore up the word room? Ask anybody from Baltimore how to say it, and they say it just like that. No, I promise you. I promise you, they say it just like that. Is it best to pay off debt or just dispute things with the credit bureaus? I'm so glad you asked that because there's actually a video I'm going to be posting on Instagram, I think it's tomorrow, that talks about this. But just because you dispute something, even if it comes off your credit, it does not mean that you don't owe. And that's why a lot of times when y'all start the dispute process and it come off and then it pop up a couple months later, it popped up because the debt was never satisfied. True that there are instances where a company cannot necessarily prove that you are the party that owes the debt. And you know what they're going to end up doing? I mean, technically the debt is still owed, so they'll sell it to the next company. And now that company is going to pursue you for the debt. And it literally will just keep recycling. It shouldn't be an idea of either or. If you want to dispute all the stuff off your credit, right? Listen, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you the consequences of each action. If you are going to just dispute all this shit on your credit, then you need to come up with a plan to still pay some of that debt off. This is what you do. You dispute it, it comes off. hurry up and pay it. Hurry up and come to an agreement with the company and get them to stop reporting. That way it won't repopulate. Nothing will pop back up and you don't have to worry about it. You don't got to keep refreshing your smart credit subscription to see if it's ever going to come back up there because you've settled the debt. It's paid. It cannot come back. Now, the only time that a debt like that, I would say don't worry about paying a debt is if it's past the 7-year reporting time and you are not under the statute of limitations. That is the only time when I might go ahead and be like, you know what, do your thing, right? Do your thing. They can't touch you. Yeah, technically you'll still owe that debt, but if it's beyond the statute of limitations, they cannot sue you for that debt. And if it's too old to report, then like, do you care? Because a lot of y'all only care because it's reporting. So yeah, she said that makes sense because I've disputed some things, they came off and then it came right back months later. Exactly, because the debt was never satisfied. You have to set, even when you're disputing, you got to satisfy the debt if you don't want it to pop back up. And that's just the truth of things. Like that's the second half that a lot of people don't tell y'all when they be like, oh, with my letters, I can get it off. Yeah, but is you gonna keep it off? And they can't guarantee you that. That's the T. Now, for those of y'all, it's a couple more people here than was here earlier. What's up, y'all? For y'all who don't know me, my name is Markia. I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media, and I'm your financial counselor's favorite financial counselor. But before that, I was your credit specialist's favorite credit specialist. So whatever you guys got from me, questions about money or credit or anything like that, drop it in the comments, and I'll make sure. Listen, I do not end my lives until every single question is asked. So even if I don't answer right away, you can always go back and watch the replay. At some point, I will answer your question. I've been on a payment plan for almost a year and it's never repopulated and my score went up. Exactly. Exactly. Because you put them on a payment plan, period. Let me tell you something. The people liable to do anything you tell them you're going to get them that money. That's how people get paid to delete negotiations, right? The letter literally states, yo, listen, you saying I owe a debt? I'm saying I want it off. If I agree to give you this money, will you agree to stop reporting it? Why? Like, come on now. I want this money. Of course I'm going to do it. Collection fell off. I didn't dispute it, but it came back and it's been 5 years. What is the best approach? Time does not mean anything when it comes to whether or not you should dispute something unless you are super close to that 7-year mark. That's the only time that time really plays a factor because sometimes like it just might make sense for you to leave it alone, let it fall off. Now, it's been 5 years, so technically it's still in the reporting time. So you can't argue that fact. Let's see. You could try to question the validity of the debt. I mean, it's been a while, so you can probably say, hey, it's called a debt validation letter. So you send a letter to them like, yo, I pulled a copy of my credit report the other day, and I'm noticing that you're reporting a debt and you're saying that I'm the party that owes the debt. Please send me any and all evidence that you have to substantiate your claim that I owe this money. In the event that you can't populate the information that I'm asking you for, all I ask is that you go and take that shit off my credit, big dog. No harm, no foul. And then you send it off. And then they respond. They either give you the things that you want or they don't. And then like that will escalate the dispute. But just know if they can prove that it is a valid debt, it's still going to report for the duration of the 7 years until you pay it off. What's the best way to find a tax person? I'm be real with y'all. Research. Research. First of all, they need that, what is it called? A PTIN number? Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. I don't do taxes. But there's a specific number that is assigned to all tax preparers. You need to make sure that anybody that's doing your taxes got one of them. Because if they mess something up, do something up, tell you any lies, you can report them to the state's attorney general's office and you can give them that number. And that's going to make sure that they are like held to the highest standards. If you pay all your credit card debts, will you eventually be able to get credit cards in the future? Yes. The thing about credit repair is that everybody confused credit repair with that act of disputing. That's not necessarily what credit repair is. Credit repair is literally the act of improving your credit worthiness, which then improves your score, right? So if you have a bunch of like high balances on credit cards, charged off accounts, or debt and collections, and you settle all of those things, and then from that point, right, from the point when you was like, oh shit, it's a problem, I'm getting ready to start doing better, paying your bills on time, opening up accounts and sticking to the agreements, right? Keeping low balances on your credit cards that you do get to open as your credit score improves. All of those things will put you in a better position for success, which will then improve your credit score, which will then allow you to get credit cards. Now, some companies are assholes. If you messed up with them, then you will never be allowed to come back. It is all their prerogative. There's no necessary, like, there's no law that states they have to let you back in. But one of my favorite banks to fuck up with and get back right, Capital One. Capital One will let you come back as many times as you want, as long as you get that debt settled. You settle that debt, you do your thing with like making better decisions. You come back a couple months later, they got you. You might have to get a secure card first, but they got you. You can come back with open arms. They will accept you. They don't care. That was a really good question, though. Shout out to my moderator, Ginger, bro. Yes, because like you be on it. I did not see that question at all. And the fact that you just started pinning them, that's lit. I absolutely love you for this. I also want to encourage y'all, right? So I've talked a little bit about my little group or whatever, and it's not private. So if you guys want to join my group on Mighty Networks, you absolutely can. I highly suggest you download the Mighty Networks apps so that you can get like the notifications and stuff for when I post. But it's literally like having a Facebook group without having to be on Facebook. A lot of my followers are not active on Facebook and didn't want to have to create a profile just to be in my Facebook group and get access to me and all the information I got. So I launched the Mighty Networks group. It's called the Dollars and Cents Society. We're a nice community of like people who care. I don't do that judging shit. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I don't do bullies. I don't do know-it-alls, none of that. I'm very protective of the spaces that I cultivate. This is a community. It's literally called the village. Like literally it's called the village. Like our feed is called the group chat. Like, come on now. Like we're family. I call y'all cousins in every post. Like we're family. And I treat it like that. So if you can come correct and come with respect, please, the doors to the church are open, right? So just join the wait list. Invites are rolling out weekly to add more and more people into the group as we utilize more and more of the features. So just throwing that out there. If y'all like how we answering these questions, if you were ever in the Facebook group, you know I answered every single question in that Facebook group. Period. Not like period. There was no but and no. I answered every group, and the same goes with the Mighty Networks group. Ooh, let's see. That's what I want to do, build with secured credit cards first. That's smart. That's absolutely smart. Now, the thing about secure credit cards is 9 times out of 10, if you have those, that means that you know, you don't got the best credit or whatever. And so they might have higher interest rates. So if you do have secure credit cards, keeping the balances low on those are key to make sure that you don't fall behind the 8 ball on those, right? So make sure you're keeping your balances extremely low on those credit cards that have high interest rates. And if you don't know what the interest rates on your credit card is, you're wrong. And a lot of y'all don't know this, but a lot of your credit cards are variable interest rate cards, meaning your interest rate changes depending on what's going on with the economy. So you need to make sure that you're checking that consistently. How long will it take to recover after bankruptcy? This depends on the person, right? It depends on you, the kind of debt you're getting past, what kind of bankruptcy you file, all of that. Like that, there's so many variables that go into that answer. What I will say is once you file bankruptcy, it's like having a scarlet letter. So a lot of lenders are not going to want to touch you right away. But some subprime lenders will allow you to get accounts with them. And it's going to suck. I'm going to be real. It's going to suck. You're going to have high interest rates, super low balances on your credit cards, like $200, $300. But you got to do what you got to do to get what you got to do. I tell people that all the time. So rebuilding after bankruptcy is hard, but it's not impossible, right? And how long it takes really depends on your situation specifically and what you're willing to do to get to that next step. What are the best ways to improve a 630 credit score? I have a couple small debts and student loans. That's not enough information for me to give you like a game plan for you specifically, but what I can do is tell you like the general things that raise a credit score. And then you, from that, you can pick what applies to you and what you're willing to do. All right. So when it comes to having a decent score, right? Like that's a decent score. So like you don't got bad credit, like you probably don't have anything in collections, but you probably have high balances on your credit card. Your credit card utilization or the balances that you have on your credit card overall is 30% of your credit score. You have to bring those down, right? If you have student loans, as long as you don't have late payments, those are positive things on your credit. I know that sounds crazy, right? Because you owe like an exorbitant amount of money. And we're not talking about your debt to income ratio. We're specifically talking about how it impacts your score. Student loans don't really do you no dirt as long as you're on time. It's once you start having those late payments that it really becomes an issue with you having those student loans. And a lot of people run into that with like their debt to income ratio when it comes time to like buy a house. But like score wise, your student loans are helping you, not hurting you as long as you have on time payments. Now, payment history. As long as you don't got no lates on no accounts, like, and if you do, you can always ask them to like fix that, right? I am from Baltimore. You can tell. You can tell. So if you got me late payments, ask them to rehab them. Just be like, listen, I was down bad. My hours got cut at work because of XYZ. Like, please, we usually have a good relationship. Like, I really just want, like, do me the solid and fix my like payment history. Like, give me all good payment history. I can speak from experience. I'm telling y'all, Capital One told me no like 3 or 4 times. Next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call letting me know that this is a one-time thing and they not gonna do this shit no more. So make sure that I want to use this benefit. And I use the shit out of it. I was literally only missing one payment. Literally one payment. And it was only because when I got back in the army, it take like 45 days for you to get paid. So my credit card payment was late. Now, one late payment was holding me back, bro. That one late payment. Not your favorite comment. You're a dweeb. So like there are companies that will do it. It might take a couple times of asking, but there are companies who will allow you to like rehab your payment history. We talked about your credit card utilization. You might not have enough, like a good mix of accounts. That's a thing. If you only have credit cards and you've never had a loan, like technically your credit look lopsided because it make it look like you only good at paying a specific type of debt. So make sure you have balanced accounts. I'm not saying go out and sign for a loan just because. There are programs like Self and stuff like that that you can look into. But just know that a mix of accounts, like that counts for like something on your credit. That's 10% of your credit score. Then length of account history. It could just be that your credit is super young. How old is your oldest account? If it's less than 3 years old, congratulations. It's a newborn baby like to them. They don't care. It's hard for them to judge where to put you on the bill paying spectrum when you haven't been paying bills that long. That's like when your friend brings somebody around and they only been around like once or twice. Baby, I don't know. That's the asthma. No, like I am breathing. That's just the asthma. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. That's just my asthma. You did. You play too much. But like, if they ain't really been around, I don't know if you're a good friend or not, boo. I'm gonna be cordial. I'm gonna be nice to you. I'll smile. But like, I don't know you like that. And the same thing goes for them. They don't know you like that. You ain't been around long enough. You ain't been paying bills long enough. And then finally, are you consistently opening new accounts? I know this sounds crazy, but they want to know that you actually going to use the credit you finna ask them for. But those are all the things that play into like raising your score. So out of all the things that I just said to you, you should pick out the things that you haven't tried yet to see if that works on improving your score. Ginger get on my nerves. Are you familiar with accounts becoming restricted with Capital One? Capital One specifically, no. But like I've seen a bunch of times where people get their accounts restricted because they got a bank debt that they didn't pay. And so like they like or like they got sued or something for like a debt that they had. And so they plan on taking your assets and so they freeze your bank accounts or whatever. And they take your money. Or like if they charged off your credit card but you still have a balance. So like I do that when I get excited. Or like you'll still have a balance. So like you can't make any charges or whatever, and it'll say like your account is restricted when in reality they close the shit out that card, but they want you to pay that balance. So they're not really trying to give you the tea on the whole. By the way, when you pay this off, we closing this card. That's usually what that means. You're welcome. All right, what else am I supposed to be talking about today? We did the outros recap. Oh, um, let's talk community for a second. I was about to say something else, but let's talk community for a second. Y'all saw what Tyrese said? Before I get into how I feel, for those of you who not tracking, we're gonna mind Black people business for a second. White people close your ears. It's Black History Month. But Tyrese got on Beyonce internet and pretty much was like, sometimes I wish I was born Latino. I mean, the Latin community is grounded in family, loyal entrepreneurs, businessmen, and women literally represent the dream, the grind, the hustle, doing whatever it takes to stick together against all odds. First of all, those characteristics are not uniquely Latinx. Let's start there. What Tyrese should have said was like, sometimes I wish I created a community. Sometimes I wish I was a part of the village. But those qualities are not inherently Latinx. And I think that it's very disrespectful to the Black community to imply that we do not have those same principles. We do not have those same characteristics. Like, it infuriates me that as a Black man, you fix your fucking fingers to get on the internet and do that during Black History Month. Like, what was you thinking? You have a Black daughter, sir. Like, sometimes I really wonder, like, some people just don't live in reality. They don't think past like the consequences of their actions. Oh, thank you. I don't know who it is because it's a Facebook user, but somebody said, I'm so proud of you, honey. Thank you. But like, what were you thinking? But I mean, what he said made me think of this next point. The community is missing. We are missing community. And I think that's what he meant to say. But of course, he's an idiot. So he didn't say it properly. But like, I can feel it. Like, and I had this again, I had this conversation, I believe, on the Dre and Smiley podcast. I hope it makes the cut. But we talked about why I'm so passionate about finfluencing and being a finfluencer. For those of you who don't know, a finfluencer is a financial influencer or somebody who teaches financial education on social media specifically. And a lot of people ask me, like, yo, like, when I first started, they laughed at me. Let's be specific. When I first started doing this, they was laughing at me. And then I blew up. And then everybody started doing it. And then everybody told me I didn't know what I was doing. I was looking crazy, da 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 da. But then everybody started coming to me for advice and asking me what can they do to now build their business on social media, which was so crazy to me, right? Because you was just ridiculing me. But I'm not just doing it to do it, right? Like, there was a rhyme or reason to why I specifically use social media. And on the Dre and Smiley podcast, I talked about how in the Black community specifically, we were not allowed to read and write. And there was even a joke that's often made where, like, if you want to hide something from Black people, put it in the book. Because we wasn't allowed to read. It was crazy because they called us idiots and said we couldn't read, but then made laws so that it was illegal for us to learn how. But we passed all of our history down orally. We passed all of our history down through stories. We passed all of our history down through the telling and the teaching, right? Like, that was how we passed on our heritage. And so I'm very passionate in what I do and why I do it this way specifically, because I'm passing down this knowledge, right? I'm continuing the tradition of my ancestors. It's very intentional, me using social media specifically. And why I'm very intentional about, please do not call me a woman of color. I am a Black woman. Why I'm very intentional with, like, blacky back. Like, my content is strictly for the niggas, strictly for the niggas. Like if other people benefit from it, I'm so happy for you and I love that for you, and that is amazing. However, Black people will always be my priority first and foremost, because I am Black and I am my priority first and foremost. I am my target audience. And that's just that on that. And we've had that conversation before. We're not even gonna get all into that. But like, it is important for us to have that community aspect, or to feel that, like, that's a possibility. And I think that Tyrese was bugging because he did not cultivate that in his circle. And I mean, sucks to suck, but like, some of us don't have that problem. I have a very supportive community around me of men and women, Black and non-Black, right? Of people who genuinely just love me, want me to succeed, and want me to do amazing things. And I want the same for them. And so we want the same things for each other. And so we pour into each other. That's what community is. I'm teaching my skills to people, to my people. I'm bringing my people with me. I'm pulling a LeBron. LeBron got famous and brought all his friends in. LeBron got famous and put all his peoples in a position through knowledge, through opportunity, whether it was seed money, whatever. And that's what I'm trying to do. And it just sucks that no amount of money that he ever got, or no amount of fame or celebrity or whatever it was enough for him to, like, create that community for himself and for his family. And it sucks to suck, but like, some of us don't got that problem, guy. Question: what if you've exhausted your options with pay to deletes and the company isn't budging? What should your next move be? Like, you have the money to pay, but they aren't agreeing to the delete information. Unfortunately, there's no law that states that they have to remove the account after you pay. So you can either pay it and then they do whatever they're gonna do with it, or you cannot pay it and then you still owe these people this money. And then, you get what I'm saying? So like, if they already told you they're not gonna delete it, your only option is like, all right, well, do I still pay it or not? So I went to the car dealership and they ran all these inquiries. I'm trying to get them removed, but Equifax won't remove them because they said I have to contact the dealership and the dealership has to send them a letter. What do I do if the dealership doesn't agree to remove the hard inquiries? I don't know why Equifax told you to go to the dealership. The dealership, Akiva, hey girl. Y'all, she's literally like my favorite client. Akiva's really my favorite client. Like, we literally like friends at this point. Like, we be texting. Like, that's my girl. I got so distracted. Um, the dealership isn't the one who ran your credit technically, right? So the dealership, what they did was they sent hey, this person wants to get a loan out to a bunch of different lenders. And the lenders are the one that did the authorizations to pull your credit. So in reality, you need to reach out to those lenders individually. Okay. Like, oh, technically, Ginger, you weren't a client. We had one meeting and then like we've been tight like white on rice ever since. Like you don't count. That's what you should do. Don't keep going to the dealership. They're not going to do anything. I can tell you that now. I used to work at Car. I used to work in CarMax in Ellicott City in Maryland. So trust me, I know. But oh, and y'all know, get into it. Get into it. Best guy of War College, fourth wing. Get into it. Cut from Etsy. Um, when I reached out to those lenders, they said I have to reach out to the dealership, which isn't. But no, 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 no. First of all, how are you reaching out to these people? First of all, because like if it's by phone, you're automatically in the wrong. You need to be sending them letters, and the letters need to state, "Hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report recently, and I'm noticing that you are reporting an inquiry. I cannot recall giving you consent to request copies of my credit report. Please provide me with any evidence you may have to substantiate your claim that I gave consent for you to pull a copy of my credit report. If you cannot provide a copy of that consent, please remove this inquiry from my credit report. Thanks." That's simple. No, I'm a pro hater. No, for real. Ginger, stop being a jerk. No, he muted her for 5 seconds. Y'all childish. I. You're so welcome. Whatever questions y'all got for me. Ooh. Oh, wait. What else are we supposed to be talking about? I'm running out of time. Oh my God. What am I? Let's talk about the book club for a second because I'm doing a giveaway. Okay. So for those of y'all who don't know, I'm a bookie. Matter of fact, let me check my app. I will literally check it live. Let's see. What is my insights for today? So right now I'm reading the From Blood and Ash series, even though Eridonis, please don't kill me. My homegirl is gonna kill me because I was supposed to start like Crescent City or Throne of Glass, one of the two. And I've really been putting it off, not gonna lie. Sarah J. Maas really pissed me off after ACOTAR. So I've read 16 books so far this year. I've been reading for 106 weeks in a row. Wow. 64 days in a row. So like I'm a bookie. So I decided to start a book club, right? And it is going to be talking about some financial books, yeah, but we also going to be talking about other stuff. And I'm going to tell y'all now, like I always tell y'all, I am my target audience. Did I get a piece of cake yet? From the king cake? See, look at me getting distracted. Anyway, so I've ironed out the first 5 books that we're going to be reading in the book club, right? Now, after this, we'll all be able to like vote and shit on what books we're going to read next. But I want to show y'all the first 5 books. I haven't gotten your books yet, Ginger, or at least she said, no, I'll text you. Okay. So here's the look. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all probably can already tell what it is, huh? You ready? Wow, these are the books. All right. Well, this is 4. Where's my 5th one? I must have left it upstairs. So I guess I'm going to give y'all the first 4. We're going to give y'all the first 4 books. Oh, hold on. Somebody left a comment. Let me be sure. You should totally check out books from Kenya Graves. It's smart. I'll send you one. Y'all send me one. I love to read. So these are the first books that we are going to read. Yes, they are Black authors, right? Because it's Black History Month, period. Now, please understand that I read a lot faster than y'all. So y'all gonna have to like help me be realistic with the expectations for like how far y'all gonna be in these books. But the very first book we gonna read. So this is why I'm broke, y'all. First of all, Melissa is one of my favorite people on the internet. If you don't follow her, you absolutely need to. Her name on social media is Millennial in Debt. Her name is Melissa John Baptiste, and she is first generation Haitian American. She is amazing. She does really good content. She's just on like TV and all this stuff. And she actually, it was so crazy because she actually like sent me a book. I got these really cool stickers. If you've ever seen me post on my story, the stickers that be like, if you're reading this, transfer $10 to your savings account. Totally got those from her when I got my book. But her book is so amazing. I have read this, so this is gonna be a repeat for me. But I love this book so much that I started buying it for everybody. I don't want to give the book away, but I just love how real she is. A lot of times when we read these personal finance books, it's so outdated and so out of touch, and I just can't relate to it because it just don't be given. But like reading her book felt like talking to a homegirl. Like, and it helped a lot of the principles sink in for a lot of the people that I talked to after reading. Like, I forced them to read this book. I'm such a book bully, but it helped a lot of people, and I want to help somebody. So, guess who ordered a free copy? Well, not a free copy. I paid for it, but it's gonna be free for you. So check this out. If you want to join my book club, you got to click the link in my bio. If you click the link in my bio on any of my pages, so Instagram, TikTok, there is a section for you to go to my website, which will allow you to sign up for the book club. Or you can email me. All you got to do is email me, markiab@themoneyplug.co. Email me, and the subject needs to say book club. You can put whatever you want in the email, but book club needs to be the subject. Not only will I go ahead and add you to the list so that everybody gets the invitation, which it is hosted in the Mighty Network community, but you do have to request to be a part of it. You are not automatically entered into it, but I'll also enter you guys in the giveaway to give this book away. We are going to start reading this a week from Monday. So that gives 1 week for y'all to sign up so that y'all can get this book. Completely free. All you're going to have to do is give me your address so I can mail it to you. And this is going to be the first book we're reading. I'm super, 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 super excited. I will be making another announcement to everybody else next week. But like, yeah, so be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Join my book club. Now, the next book we're going to read, this is my special copy. She wrote in it. The next book we're going to read, wow, Hood Feminism. I don't know. Fernandez said he's going to hit you up about the MEB process whenever you're available. I'm always available. He's a weirdo. He could have just tell him to text Sean and get my phone number. It's fine. I know y'all looking at me like, who? Tell him to text Sean and give him my phone number. But I've heard nothing but good like thoughts about this book. I don't know if y'all know Nene, the girl that be like, I'm gonna keep it black, but I'm gonna keep it brief. I absolutely love Parking Lot Pimpin'. I got a ticket to her tour. It was amazing. Like, I absolutely love her. And in one of her posts, she recommended this book, and I instantly bought it. And I haven't read it yet, so this is going to be a new read for me, and I'm super excited. But yeah, so it's called Hood Feminism: Notes from the Women That a Movement Forgot by Mickey Kendall. And it says today's feminist movement has a glaring blind spot, and paradoxically, it's women. Mainstream feminists rarely discuss meeting basic needs as a feminist issue, argues Mickey Kendall, but food security, access to quality education, safe neighborhoods, a living wage, and medical care are all feminist issues. All too often, the focus is not on basic survival for the many, instead it is on increasing privilege for the few. Prominent white feminists broadly suffer from their own myopia with regard to how things like race, class, sexual orientation, and ability intersect with gender. How can we stand in solidarity as a movement, Kendall asks, when there is a distinct likelihood that some women are oppressing others? In this potent and electrifying critique of today's feminist movement, Mickey Kendall draws on her own experiences with hunger, violence, and hypersexualization, along with incisive commentary on politics, pop culture, the stigma of mental health, and more. Hood feminism is a ferocious clarion call to all would-be feminists to live out the true mandate of the movement in thought and in deed. Bro, I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped to read this. I'm so hyped to read this. So that's the second book we're going to be reading. The third book is sorry. I did it in the wrong order. This book, the third book, is definitely a reread. If you can't tell, it's a little worn on my edges, but y'all know I am a budget needs to stand. Okay, don't play with me. My aunt Tiff is a shit, so we definitely gonna be reading her book, Get Good with Money. Definitely like a household staple. Like, every Black household needs to have this book. Like this is our Black financial Bible. So I'm super excited to get to this because like there's actionable steps and shit in this book. So I'm super excited. And then after that, I want to read Twice as Hard. This is a very interesting book. And it talks about navigating Black stereotypes and creating space for success. So this is a very, very, very interesting read. Opened my eyes to a lot of things that I had never truly realized or never really wanted to acknowledge. But these are the first 4 books. I'm not gonna tell y'all what the 5th one is because I forgot to bring it downstairs. And I don't want to get the person's name wrong. Hey, what's up, Dawson? But yeah, so I'm super excited for the book club. Like I don't think y'all understand. Like I absolutely love to read books. What we're gonna do is we got a whole separate space off to the side in the Mighty Networks group where we could talk about the books. We're gonna have assignments every week. Like I'm gonna be like, all right, y'all, we're gonna read this chapter. Tell me how you feel. Let's talk about it. Was it anything you didn't understand? Want to dive a little deeper? If you got questions about the book, if you just want to vent about the book, like we just gonna have this whole space to ourselves. And once a month, we're gonna all get together and talk about what it is we read, right? So I'm estimating that each book would take us about a month to read, maybe a little longer. We're gonna play it by ear, but like I said, I'm super excited to kind of experience this with you all. So please, if you are interested in joining my book club, right, go and join the wait list. Can I just pay them and ask for a deletion? Yeah, like Akiba said, you can ask them, but they can always say no. I would ask for the deletion first because the leverage is they want to be paid. If you pay them and then ask for the deletion, there's no incentive for them to make any change. They already got the money. So you always want to try to negotiate before you give them the payment. And don't forget, we're giving this book away. We're giving this book away. A copy of So This Is Why I'm Broke by Melissa John Baptiste, aka Millennial in Debt on social media. So if you want this book, join my wait list for the book club. It's lit. I'm so thankful for your work. Oh, thank you. That gave me the fuzzies. All right, I got like 10 minutes left, so I want to talk to y'all right quick. So remember when I told y'all I was bringing back What Would the Money Plug Do? I had a long talk with myself. Myself was like, And I was like, listen, I like shitting on these fake ass credit repair specialists just like the next person. However, like sometimes it gets to be a little bit much and a little bit repetitive. I want to do something a little bit more. Came up with the idea of the advice column. What the advice column does, and I've been working on it for a while, so we got a nice little bank of questions going. Sorry. But what it's going to be is people will submit questions. As you submit questions, I will then read the questions out anonymously. I have no idea who you are. How you submit questions is you will email all of your questions to WWTMPD at themoneyplug.co, right? You just email your questions there. I'm not going to ask no questions. I'm not going to ask for no additional details. I'm just going to answer it on the show, or there's going to be a separate space in the space actually where you'll be able to read my response as well. I'll be able to put it there in case you don't watch the videos or whatever the case may be. And nobody will ever know where it came from. That's just between me and whoever sending it. Oh my God, mother. I didn't even see this comment. She said you're doing so many great things and I'm super proud of you. Love you real big. Oh, I love you too, God, mommy. It's so funny. Oh, I can't tell y'all yet. Never mind. Shut up. I was about to say something. I was about to spoil something. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and read. Oh, I'm so excited. This is the very first advice column question for What Would the Money Plug Do? Oh, I'm so excited. Y'all ready? Cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read their question and then I'm gonna respond with what I would do if I was in that situation. Like everything else, if you need help, I highly suggest that you seek professional help. I'm a professional, but I'm not your professional. You're not paying me to really give you this advice. So if you got a question that you want to get actual paid advice for, you can always sign up for financial counseling on my website at themoneyplug.co. If you just want this vague, well, if it was me conversation, you can always send an email to WWTMPD at themoneyplug.co. All right? I'm going to go and read this because it's almost time for us to close it out. Dear Money Plug, I'm reaching out because I feel completely overwhelmed when it comes to managing my money. Growing up, we never really talked about finances at home, and I've always seen money as something to be spent rather than saved or invested. I'm in my late 20s. I live in a city that's super expensive, and I've never been to college. I work a job that pays my bills. No kids, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and the concept of having savings or an emergency fund seems like a luxury I can't afford. I see my friends making financial decisions that seem to be setting them up for a better future, and it makes me feel like I'm falling behind. I want to change my relationship with money and start building a stable financial future for myself, but I don't know where to start. The word of finance seems so complicated and intimidating, especially since I don't have a background in it. I'm afraid of making the wrong moves and ending up in a worse situation than I am now. Don't make me cry. Thank you for creating content that speaks to people like me. I'm hopeful that with your advice, I can start to turn things around. Sincerely, a woman looking to change her financial future. Oh, okay. First of all, You've already taken the first step. You reached out and was like, listen, I need help, but I'm not sure what kind of help I need. I don't know what I need to be doing. I just know that what I'm doing now isn't working. And that's the first step. Acknowledging that there is a problem is always the first step in solving the problem. You've acknowledged that you're not making the right decisions. You're living paycheck to paycheck, and you really have no justification for it. Um, First things first, your age don't matter. You could be in your 50s and just having this realization, and that's perfectly fine. Once you have the realization, as long as you start making those moves to kind of healing whatever the issue is. What it sounds like for you is that you need to heal your relationship with money first. Sounds like you have a very tumultuous relationship with money because of what you're going through. You sound like low key jaded, if that makes sense. You sound jaded a little bit and like a little bitter that like everything's working out for everybody else. It's just not working out for me, right? So you got to work through that. The reason why I always tell people that the first step is healing your relationship with money is because you can read all the books, you can take all the classes, you can consume all the content and send all the letters, but you are still not changing the mindset that thought that the behaviors you were doing originally were okay or that justified you doing the stuff that you knew wasn't okay. You have to heal that in order to affect real change. And I talked a little bit about it last week, I believe it was when we went live, and we talked about my fundamentals, right? My financial fundamentals. Like I told the story about like how I used to play basketball, and my coach used to get on us because like if you can't master the fundamentals, you're gonna lose the game every time. Sorry, I'm trying to. There we go. If you don't master the fundamentals, you're gonna lose the game every time. Like the fundamentals, you have to have them in order to have a complete game. And when it comes to having a healthy relationship with money, there's a framework that I teach, and I just started teaching it. That's so crazy. It's called money. The first thing is money mindset. The second one is organized financial planning. The third step is negotiation and communication. The fourth step is education and knowledge. And the fourth, MONEY, fifth step, I'm so slow. The fifth step is yielding to professional advice. The money framework, when used together, will help you have that total relationship with money where you're trusting yourself again to make financial decisions. You're not feeling guilty for the decisions that you're making because you know the decisions you're making are getting you closer and closer to your financial goals. But oh hey, girl, you late. Um, but really you have to start healing that relationship. What I would actually tell you to do is an activity that I did that will like literally like live on in my mind rent free is I did an exercise called Dear Money, and it was when I wrote a letter to money. I I'm big on meditating, so I meditated for a little bit, or I took some time to myself, separated myself from everything and all the distractions, and I sat down and I really kind of centered myself. And I wrote a letter to money as if it was a person. And as I started writing, I started noticing a lot of different things about my relationship. Like the shit just started coming out after a while. Like to be real with you, like coming out. And if you're not comfortable writing, you can always just turn the camera on and start talking. Turn your voice memo on and start recording. However, it feels natural to you to get it out, you have to get out those feelings that you have about money. And it was crazy because as I went back and read the letter when I was finished, I was talking to money as if it was like an ex boyfriend that just did me so wrong and it was so hard to get past them and da 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 da. Like that's what it, and it was so crazy because as I read the letter back to myself, I was like, damn, that describes perfectly the relationship that I had with money. I was bitter. I felt like, bro, all my life I worked to get you, I got you, and you weren't shit. You ain't do nothing for me. Like it was crazy how many realizations I had during that exercise, but it also felt cathartic because I was able to take accountability for my role in the relationship with money that I had. And like acknowledging that all of this stuff happened and all of this stuff exists, but it's not happening no more and I'm done with it. And it's okay. And it's okay. And just releasing it. When I tell y'all, I cried after that exercise. Like it was so powerful, honestly. I highly suggest y'all try that exercise. So if I was you, sis, and I know Instagram might be ready to cut off, but if I was you, sis, I would go ahead and do that Dear Money exercise. Get all them feelings out there. And then now it's time to start reading the books and taking the classes and doing the things, right? To really start putting yourself in a position to be successful with new knowledge because you are receptive to it now. Um, oh my God, that was our first official like advice column thing. Ooh, so cool. Listen, if you're in the Mighty Network community already, I'll go ahead and I'll start typing out my response. and I'll place it in the What Would the Money Plug Do section or space of the Mighty Network community so that you guys can go back and read it. But yeah, that's literally how it works. You write a letter to me, I'll answer your question, and then boom. Oh my God, we've been live for an hour. So we can go ahead and get out of here. It's been real, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sticking around for the hour. Like I said, every Friday we gonna be here 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here as long as y'all here, right? Y'all know what I always say: live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills and wear condoms just in case it's not. If you want to join the Mighty Networks group, all you gotta do is go to my website and join the wait list. We are adding new people every week, as well as you can do the same thing with the book club, or you can just shoot me an email that say book club in the subject line, and I'll go ahead and add you to the list. But I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all head out. All right, it's been real, y'all. Oh, thanks, Dawson and Brandy. Alexa, right on time. Dismiss.